Alright everyone, so welcome back. I said on the Twitter page, if you checked it, that there wasn't going to be a video this week, but I've got a bit of time to burn here, just late on Friday night to do a video, so we'll just get it underway. But before we do, we will recap on, first of all, past weekend's events, so UFC 254, Khabib, Gaethje, that card. So members went 2-0 on pre-fight bet. First bet was over 1.5 rounds in Sam Alvey and Darren Young fight. Got it that at about minus 120. What was it? It was like a it was like a 2.1 unit play, something like that. And then the other bet, the cash for, or it's pending, but the first leg of it won, was Magomed Ankalaev. Got him at minus 285, or 4-11 if you're using fractional odds. And the second leg of that double it's a wee while away still yet, but yes, we're waiting on the second leg coming through for that particular bet. But a few personal plays I also did, and if I'm doing a personal play, I tell members I'm doing them, but I don't tip them. I just say, right, you can tail if you wish, but this isn't a tip bet. This is just a personal play. So if it loses, don't point the finger at me or anything, because it wasn't like a tipped bet as in a recommended bet. It was just a bet I thought was decent value, or I just put it down. But the first one was. What was it? Oh yeah, just Khabib sub 2-1 plus 200. Put a unit on it for 2 units profit on that, which is always good. And then I knew it would happen. So a lot of money came in on Gaethje late, as I expected it to, and then Khabib dropped to like minus 250. So he did, and basically because I was up a bit of money on the night, and I liked those odds on Khabib because I knew he'd win. Pull the trigger, 5 units play at minus 250 / 2-5 for a profit of 2 units. So that was good. Khabib obviously coming through. As I said on the podcast, I thought he would submit Gaethje, and I just took him under 2 rounds to do so. So just for live bets, we had. First live bet was a push. It was Sam Alvey. It was crazy odds, 5-1. I said stick a unit on him because the odds were just nuts. He was 5-1, and obviously it was a split decision win. Most media members scored it for Sam Alvey, so if that got up, would have been looking at 5 units of profit there. But it was a push. The bet voided, so we get our stakes back. So it was just like a free thing. Didn't lose anything or nothing, because it was a split decision draw. Bad Victor gave me the stake back because it was a push. They voided that bet. So the other one was, had one losing live bet. It was Nathaniel Wood, just a unit play, because I actually thought he was sort of in the mid part of round 3. I thought he was like running away with for a bit, and then he like let the gas go, or he let the foot off the gas for the second half of the third round, unfortunately. But still think you could argue he won that fight, to be honest. And then you had Casey, some judge scored it for him 30-27, which was ridiculous, because Wood definitely won the second round, no doubt about it. And then you could argue he won the third round, but if you give it to Case Kenny, that's no problem. I just thought Nathaniel Wood, in terms of strikes, he was ahead and stuff. So I tipped a 1 unit bet, but it's only a unit, so that one lost. But that was the only losing bet of the whole night. And then 2 other live bet wins was Volkov by TKO. It was evens. It was after the first round, and obviously I got up in the mid of the second round. He taped their body. It was lovely. He downed Otaveros with it, and then finished them with strikes. And then the last live bet was what do you call it? It was Robert Whittaker by decision after round 2. He was like minus 285, and I tipped it as 3 units because he was up 20-18. I mean, basically all he had to do was survive and not get 10-8 to win the fight, and he did. He won it 30-27, so it was good. So Whittaker came through for us there, and then just another personal play because I didn't have time to tip it up or tip it out during the fight. 2 members was Khabib. It was a personal play live bet. I added like 1.5 units just before he took Gaethje down because I seen Gaethje was tiring and I just thought he's not going to be able to stuff these takedowns for much longer. But as I say, I tried to tip it out to members, couldn't do so in time. Just because obviously with the lines the way they are, they get suspended very quickly in MMA compared to boxing. But so if it was a profitable night, so it was. If I just look at the units and profits, it was 7.8 units of profit for Khabib versus Gaethje card, so that's always good. So I had a good night there. And then Bellator 250 was last night. So just to keep it quick, because I don't want to be going over all this forever. So we had 4.25 unit play on over 2.5 rounds. Mousasi Lima, which was up minus 125 or 45 if you're going off fractional odds, which came through for us there. And then in regards to another personal play I had as a pre-fight bet was Hager. I had 3 units on him, so that at opening odds of minus 300, and that came through. I mean, it was close, but I still thought he won the fight. And then 3 live bets, which I tipped out, even though I couldn't get actually on them myself because I'm IP restricted from using Betway. Basically, they've deemed me not profitable and restricted my accounts. Basically, I was still tipping out bets to members because, you know, I just thought basically obliged to, really. Because I was watching the fights, I was keeping track of the live betting lines and stuff, so it's just like, may as well tip us out. So 3 came through, so was it for members. So we had 2 units on Johnny Eblin at minus 120 / 5-6. And that was when he was up 2 rounds. He was up 20-18 and he was minus 120, which is crazy. So got 2 units up from that. And then had a unit on Hager at Pickham live. I think it was in the 3rd round. I tipped that out. And then it obviously came through. And then the last one was fight to go the distance between Mousasi and Lima. Got that in the 3rd round. It was minus 200 / 1-2. But I thought there was still value on it. So I was a unit of profit there, which is always good. So overall profit for Bellator 250 was plus 4.75 units. So there you go. So just moving on to this card. Obviously tomorrow night's UFC Vegas 12. We're back at Vegas with the smaller octagon and stuff, so keep an eye out for that in terms of how it affects the fights and stuff, because last time it favoured the grapplers, if you remember correctly, in the first few runs of fights at Vegas. Usually the grappler would basically come out on the better end due to the small cage. So if we just keep that in perspective with the Miles Jones and Kevin Navratilov fight, I think it favours Miles Jones sort of, because he is a better grappler here. You know, he does have a decent level of wrestling. His striking, there's a lot yet to be desired there, but I mean, his wrestling is good, and he falls back on it if he, is coming up short in a fight. He falls back on the wrestling if he's getting backed up and stuff, or if he's tired, because that's his go-to, that's his bread and butter, the wrestling. So I think he'll be looking to incorporate it in this fight against Kevin Navratilov, taking him down, because Navratilov is like a pressure boxer. He will come forward a lot and, really put the pressure on forcing you up against the cage and just landing bombs, really, because he does have heavy hands for bantamweight. He's very filled out for the division, so he is. Kevin Nafedat. I literally just taped this fight like 2 hours ago, because weirdly enough, the past 2 weeks I've been starting from the top and working my way down. I don't know why, actually, just mixing it up, but I was only after taping this fight, so it was. And that was one thing that, came out as prominent to me, was Navidad's fairly big, like, so he is very, very bulky, so he is for bantamweight. And he has like a 2-inch reach advantage here, sorry. So he is kind of naturally bigger bantamweight here than Miles Jones, but in terms of striking, I would give it to Navidad. In terms of wrestling and grappling, I would give it to Miles Jones, so would, and in terms of experience, we give it to Miles Jones as well. I just think that we haven't seen enough from Navidad in terms of takedown defense and how he fares against wrestlers to be confident enough in him as an underdog. Like, we've yet to see him. Well, to be honest, I didn't really dive into much of his previous fights before his last two for Navidad, but I didn't see anything like recently in his recent fights from him to come away with saying that he's got good takedown defense or bad takedown defense. I don't know. So I think if you're betting Navidad here, it's sort of, you're going in blind slightly, unless there is, a fight before where you see his takedown defense. I'm not sure, but as I was saying, smaller cage does favour the wrestler, so it does. I think if Navidad does back up Miles Jones can, he can fall back on his wrestling, especially if he could start, getting landed on with the bombs of Navidad. He can fall back on his wrestling and, just really grind this decision out. But it's hard to call this one, so it is. To be honest, I'm not very impressed with the overall game of Miles Jones. He does come from a good camp in Fortis MMA under the tutelage of Safe Side and stuff, but his striking just isn't the best. He's sort of low output, so he is. That's another thing about Navidad. See, if you watch him, he sort of hunts for the knockout, so he does, rather than point scoring. He's really invested in knocking his opponent out. I just think it's detrimental to his game plan and to his likelihood of winning fights, especially at the higher levels, because you're not going to finish every guy at these higher levels. Like for Navidad, you're just not going to. So I think he should look to rack up scoring points rather than always hunting for the knockout, in my opinion. Because if you do watch him, he's willing to take a few strikes to try and land a big bomb, so he is, which is a wee bit worrying. So that might just, mitigate Miles Jones' low output. So it might is Navidad's just, lack of point scoring on the feet. But he still could land a bomb and knock Jones out, but I don't think he does. I think the Jones ends up getting takedowns and grinding this out. Who knows, to be honest. I can't say I have a strong read in this fight at all, but if you watch some of Miles Jones' fight, even there, like in the Santiago fight, he struggles to keep these guys down, so he does. He keeps them down for a bit, and then they always end up getting back up. So it's not really a good look, so I don't know, I would just stay away from this fight for betting, like, so I would, to be honest. But if I'm going to pick one, it's going to be the more experienced and better grappler, Miles Jones. So it is probably under, a better training camp as well, or better, gym in Fortis MMA. So I'll go with Miles Jones there by decision, but not confident. So next up, Justin Jacoby versus Justin Ledet. Justin Jacoby fought on week 1 of the Contender Series. That was actually a really good week, so it was. I remember betting Jordan Levitt in that one. He came through. And yeah, I was the only bet for it. I tipped it out to members and stuff. And then Jacoby was the main event. And I remember taping him, and I just thought it was intriguing that he had... See if you just look here. So what is that? The 29th of June, 2019. He had 3 fights in one night. It was under, the same organisation, CSL. Or SCL, should I say. Where he had a boxing fight, a kickboxing fight, and an MMA fight, which was interesting. And I watched them all, and it was just, you never really see that. It's really old school sort of. And he has been fighting kickboxing, so he has in the past number of years. But seeing the Cody East fight, like his takedown defense was good. So it was for, being a long layoff from MMA. He was stuffing takedowns and stuff, and he was just really being patient with Cody East on the feet and just picking away on him. I'm not sure if it was because he was worried about energy conservation for his next 2 fights, a boxing fight and a kickboxing fight, that he wasn't going all out and trying to finish Cody East, but he displayed a more patient game there and then ends up getting the decision. And then against Ty Flores there on the Contender Series just there in August, he basically battered Ty Flores on the feet with his... He just had crazy kicks and stuff, and very powerful striker. Jacoby, he did slow down in round 3, but see, if you watch that fight, it's amazing how Flores just took all them shots and just continued, to stay up. And then I remember tipping out a live bet, 2 members of the fight to go the distance. It was on Betway before it was restricted there. It was like pick a mod, so it was, and it was in round 2, and I was like, Jesus, Jacoby's slowing down here, so I think I will go with distance, and it did, and obviously came through, and I had like 7 units or something on it, or 5 or something. It was great. So I came through, because I just thought the line was way off. But I do like Dustin Jacoby, so I do. He opened at plus. He opened at minus 170. Now he's down to minus 370, so he is. Up against Justin Ledet. Now Justin Ledet he's the guy that UFC go to when they're looking a prospect to get a win against. He's the guy they pick out. We've seen it in the Lexi Cameron fight. They throw him Justin Ledet. Seen the Johnny Walker fight, Rakic fight. So UFC know what they're doing here. I think they've got a talented fighter and very entertaining fighting Dustin Jacoby, and they're gonna prop him up, in my opinion, by giving him Justin Ledet. Justin Ledet used to fight at heavyweight. He's a long boxer, so he is. Stands a wee bit heavy on his lead leg, can get his legs chewed up. Very low output though, and is extremely durable, so he is. Seen that in the Rakic fight. He can take a shot, so he can't, Justin Ledet. He did get knocked out in the Johnny Walker fight, but it was a spinning back fist, and it was a shot where he didn't really see it coming, which is why I think he got knocked out. But I mean, it's fairly obvious like who's going to win here. It's Dustin Jacoby, in my opinion. Would it be playing minus 370? Not a chance. But if it could get the minus 170 now, in hindsight, I would definitely bet Jacoby, so I would, 100%. But to be honest, I think the over set at 2.5. If the over was over 1.5, I would be spamming that line, but it's not. It's over 2.5, so it's a wee bit more risky. I don't know. It's hard to say. If I was going to be betting something for this, it'd probably be Jacoby by decision. Take plus 200 or something. That would be the only thing. But I mean, I'm staying away from that fit. But yeah, Jacoby decision there I've got. Alright, next up, Jason Witt versus Cole Williams. So Jason Witt came in very short notice against Takashi Sato. I think it was like 2 days or 3 days or something. I remember Sato was like minus 250 in that fight. And sorry about that. He was like minus 250 in that fight, and I just didn't tape Jason Witt, so I didn't, because I thought, like, man, it's 250, I don't really want to be playing that in Takashi Sato. And then Takashi Sato, I thought he was going to murk Witt, but I didn't think it was going to be that easy. And then I was like, Jesus Christ, why didn't I bet just Sato there? Why didn't I tape the fight properly? I bet Sato there. It was kind of annoying one, but it is what it is. You can't just look back on what ifs and stuff. But this time, obviously, I have taped Jason Witt. Overall, I think he's a he's a decent athlete, but he's not, a UFC caliber fighter, is my opinion. I say he's a decent athlete, but he's very slow, so he is on the feet. I think I sort of mean he's a decent athlete and his takedowns and stuff, and when he gets fighters to the ground he looks at home, so he does. But he's built well and stuff, he's a brick shithouse, like, but I just don't think, like, on the feet he doesn't impress me at all. He's very slow, lumbering, head stays on the centre line, gets easily hit, doesn't really move his head much. Which is why he has been susceptible to getting knocked out. I mean, he's getting knocked out 6 times, which is a lot, and he's coming back. He come back fairly quickly after the Sato knockout loss he has, and it was 4 months ago. But still, you've got to let the brain sort of at least 6 months before getting knocked out. Like, in my opinion, anyway. Because it's dangerous, so it is. But chin issues, I would say he has some chin issues, to be honest. Jason Witt, he's mostly a grappler, like, so he is. Not very impressive at all on the feet, so he isn't. But he's coming up against Cole Williams here, who I don't know how this guy's in the UFC, to be honest. I'm nearly sure he came in on short notice against Claudio Silva, I want to say. Way back, like 14 months ago. What card was that? Khabib versus Lawler? Nah, that was ages ago. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so Claudio Silva gets one takedown and basically, submits him. But Claudio Silva is BJJ ace. Jason Witt, can't really say the same, but he's decent on the ground. He likes to work the ground and pound and stuff, and strong top control. So I think if he's going to have a success, it's going to be there. So it is taking Cole Williams down, who he looks, he's somewhat of a decent athlete for being in the UFC and all. But see, when I watch Cole Williams, he just looks very old and stuff to me, or something. He doesn't really look like a proper fighter. Maybe that's not the right thing to say, but he doesn't look like a very high-end, elite UFC athlete, is the better terminology, I think. He just, his body composition, or just the way he fights or something, he sort of moves about well in round 1, and then after that he's slow and numbered, and then he can be susceptible to getting taken down and dominated. But if we're going off a fighter with a better skill set, it's Jason Witt, so it is, to be honest. And the better, don't think any of these fighters are UFC caliber, but if we're going off a fighter with slightly higher ceiling, it is Jason Witt, so it is. Now he's training at Glory MMA, James Krause's gym, so he's obviously getting good licks in there, so he is, and he's obviously getting, good grappling training, decent striking training, under James Krause and stuff. And then Cole Williams, where does he train? Let me check. I think it's just nowhere. I think there's a few UFC fighters. Alex Plessis is the only one. So he's not really training with anyone. See, to be honest, I think Cole Williams round 1 or buzz, so I do. If he doesn't get Jason Witt out of round 1, if he doesn't crack him in round 1, if he doesn't test the chin, He's just going to get beat here, in my opinion. So he is, by Jason Witt. Now, I wouldn't be rushing out and betting Jason Witt. Like, if you got him at dog odds, I would bet him. But he's like minus 140 now. So I think the value's past, in my opinion. Sort of. But more than likely, I think Jason Witt outpoints Cole Williams here. Sort of. I think he wins a decision victory. Just through, you know, working in his grappling and better striking and stuff like that. So Jason Witt by decision there. So next up, Sean Strickland versus Jack Marshman. Now, follow me on Twitter. Like, I say it on Twitter. Jack Marshman and John Phillips. I mean, they're just not UFC quality at all. If you think Cole Williams is bad, like, these two are, like, I wouldn't say equally as bad, but definitely not UFC caliber either. Like, I mean, Jack Marshman's only UFC win across the last 3 years is over John Phillips, so it is a split decision. And you could argue Phillips won it. Personally, I thought Marshman probably won it, but just wasn't a great fight. Jack Marshman, he's like a boxer on the feet, but he can be taken down, and he doesn't have the highest output, so he doesn't on the feet. He's like a very safe fighter, so he is. I just don't think he's good at all. I think he can be taken down, he can be grappled, he can be beat on the feet as well, so he can. Sean Strickland, who is coming off 2-year layoff, his last win was against Nordine Taleb. He's been out with injury issues. And he did look very good in that Taleb fight. Taleb was, you know, he was on the end of his career, but it was still a good win. He did look good. He just pressurized Taleb, and he jabbed ahead of him for the first round, and then just Taleb ends up just wilting under the pressure and, you know, forward game of Strickland, and then ends up just getting stabbed. And he exhausted Taleb in that fight, so he did, Strickland. He's training out of Team Quest, so he is with Sam Alvey, Dan Henderson, Ed Herman and stuff, so decent gym. Jack Marshman, he's training at, like, I'm almost sure he's training at SB. No, that's John Phillips. I'm not sure, actually. It says here Killer Combat MMA Academy. Never even heard of it, to be honest. Let's just hope, should I say, that UFC don't cut Jack Marshman, and maybe we get a decent line on him next fight. Who knows? Let me just see the odds. Sean Strickland, nice. He's minus 350. He's going down, so he is. I'm not surprised at all. No way. Like, I'm not surprised. You know, I wouldn't like the line to bet it personally, but I can see why it's that way, definitely. I think it's justified, basically, is what I'm saying. What have I got Strickland by? Let me see. I'll say by decision. So, well, because Jack Marshman's sort of hard to finish. Unless you take him down, sub him. So Strickland may take him down here. If he does, he probably finishes him. But if it's on the feet, he probably just jabs ahead of him for 3 rounds. So I like Strickland there. Next up, Adrian Yanez versus Victor Rodriguez. Now, Adrian Yanez is another guy we've seen on the Contender Series. I was week 2 of the Contender Series, and this was such a card as well. So Adrian Yanez, I remember taping him, and he was minus 285 against Brady Hung, or however you say that name, Brady. I just didn't pull the trigger, and then he ended up dropping down to, like, pretty sure it was like minus 300. It was. And then, obviously knocks him out in 40 seconds. He looked brilliant. So he did. Adrian Yanez, he reminds me of a young Jorge Masvidal, so he does. He has very good hands. Good boxing for MMA. Really powerful striking. And he just puts combos on each guy, so he does. he just ends up catching people and ends up knocking them out, which I expect him to do the same against Victor Rodriguez. Now, if you watch Victor Rodriguez straight away, like, you're just looking at this guy and you're like, whoa, this guy isn't good. Like, I reckon, it sounds stupid to say, but you know, I've did a bit of wrestling and Muay Thai training myself. Personally, I reckon if you give me 2 years or something, I would put up a decent fight against this guy, to be honest. I don't think he's that good at all. Like, really bad, should I say. Really fucking bad. See if you watch that Tristan Lowe fight. So it was a blood, sweat and beers. I tweeted it out. It's at a card. It was pro wrestling, a tag team match, and then there was MMA, and then there was boxing, all on the same night up in Alaska. Now you're just thinking, like, Jesus Christ, like, what type of competition is this guy fighting? Like, he's fighting cons, obviously. And then if you watch that fight, Tristan Lowe looks fucking brutal. He's bad, so he is. Tristan Lowe's a bad fighter as well. Victor Rodriguez, he knocks him out, like, but he just gives up, so he does Tristan Lowe in that one. And then if you watch the Mazurak fight, he knocks out him, but you know, it's an Alaska fighting championships. It's not a good thing. It's not a good organization at all. You want to fade these guys as much as possible, so you do, because apart from Medic, who was seen on the Contender Series, they've all just like basically fucking wilted, because the level of competition up there is not great, and just the general level of fighters isn't good at all. So it isn't. I think Adrian Yanez is going to have a field day. He's going to knock this guy out in like under 2 rounds. Like, there's no way I don't think Yanez loses this fight, to be honest, at all. If you just watch Victor Rodriguez, you know, his stand-up isn't great. He isn't much of an athlete. Not impressive at all, so he isn't. You can tell he's had, you know, some training. You can tell he is, you know, he's a pro MMA fighter, right? Fair enough. But nowhere near UFC level. Nowhere near. No joke, nowhere near. I think this guy would even get beaten Bellator and stuff, so I was going as far as to say that. You know, he's a built guy, so he is. He's very built. But, you know, it's just overall game isn't great, so it isn't at all. So I think Yanez absolutely murks this guy, so I do. I think he murks him easily. The only thing not even worth mentioning, to be honest. I was going to say if fucking Yanez ends up trying to kick Victor Rodriguez and ends up, you know, hurting his fucking leg or something, but even still, Yanez probably beat this guy on one leg, so he probably does. Yeah, so Yanez by TKO there. So Alex Hernandez versus Chris Grootsmasher. Chris Grootsmasher. He's been out of competition for 2 years now, so he has been. You know, he's like a pressure boxer, so he is. He is coming down from, was he fighting at 155? Yeah, so he's 140. No? Sorry, he used to fight at 145, that's what it was. Or did he? Is my head away? I'm almost sure this guy used to fight at 145. He did. I was just wondering there, because fucking Alex Hernandez is obviously a lightweight, and I was like, I thought this guy used to fight a featherweight, but yeah. So he's back up at lightweight, so he is. Trains out at ATP. He brings forward a pressure fighter game, tries to work his boxing, really tries to get in the face of his opponent, and just really, you know, Nick Diaz style type of thing. Obviously not the level of striking of Nick Diaz, but just in your face, just hurting you as much as he can. We've seen that in the Joe Lozon fight. I was a very bad fight for Joe Lozon. Chris really put it on him. really made it ugly, and just Conor had to stop it. So fair enough for Joe Lauzon's corner in that one. He was a bloody mess, so he was. And then if he does have deficiencies, it's on the ground, Chris. So it is. And Alex Hernandez, he is. It's hard to say, to be honest, because I would say he's more of a grappler than striker, but he doesn't have a very natural wrestling game. It's hard to explain, but he's not like a naturally gifted wrestler, is what I'm trying to say. So he's not. He had trouble taking Dober down and stuff, and he couldn't keep him down. He couldn't get Trinaldo down at all. He couldn't get Cerrone down. But in the OAM fight, he gets him down. And his grappling looks amazing. But maybe that's just because OAM, he's not the most, he's not the best wrestler in the division, basically. He can't be taken down. So he can't OAM. And, if Alex Hernandez is going to win this fight, he has to take, or he doesn't have to take him down. Maybe that's the wrong thing, but if he's hoping for a safe win, I would say taking Chris down is the safest bet, because if you stand up with Chris on the feet, he's just going to come forward and make you tired with his striking, so he is. And basically, if you let that happen, you're playing into his game plan. So you are. I would definitely say, the more skilled mixed martial artist, more well-rounded mixed martial artist is Alex Hernandez. But I don't think he has lived up to his hype at all. Sorry, 1 second, take a drink. Yeah, as I was saying, I don't think he's lived up to his hype. I think that he talked a big game, but he never really backed it up, did Alex Hernandez. And he hasn't really impressed me after the Dariush fight. He really got ahead of himself, so he did, after that win. Or sorry, not Dariush fight, the OAM fight. And, he should be on a 3-fight losing streak, so he should, Alex Hernandez, because he lost the Trinaldo fight, in my opinion. Don't know how he got that decision. He was backing up the whole time. Trinaldo was landing on him, but nevertheless, so he's trained. He's changed up gym, so he has. He's a factory X now, so he is Alex Hernandez. I think he needs something like this, sort of. I think this is the right move for him. I just think his career was stagnating, and he just needs to change things up a wee bit, so he did. So that's why he's made the move, and I think people like him because of that reason. Because he is a talented guy, but he just hadn't really lived up his potential, whether that was due to, being in his old gym, or whether that was just, mental hurdles, or just being too cocky, because that's what he was. He was talking about games, so he wasn't really backing it up. But, I think if he does have success, it's taking Chris down here, and I think that's what he should do from the get-go. But he still can win the fight on the feet. He's just got to outpoint Chris. I don't really rate Chris very highly, but if you let the fight play into his game plan, he can't really wear you out and put it on you. So he can't just like he did Joe Lauzon. But overall, I would say, let me just see 1 second. I can't remember what I have here for in terms of methods. Yeah, so we'll go with Alex Hernandez by, let me see, decision. Oh, fuck. Decision. I'll go with him by decision. Yeah, so Alex Hernandez by decision there. Alright, next up, Bobby Green versus Thiago Moises. So Bobby Green, 2020, he is 3-0. He's really looked, he's turned really a book in his game. So he has, I don't know what it's been, it's ever since lockdown or something, or he's just really looked good. So he has in 2020. At the Apex and stuff, maybe that's a factor, smaller cage or something. These guys can't really take him down, and he's just really working his stand-up game and putting it on these guys. Very skilled boxer, so he is, Bobby Green. I think he's coming into his own, should I say, in this, like, as of recently. And I think he is really in the prime of his career. You know, he did have some just rough start to his UFC career, so he did. But he was facing high level competition, so he was. And ever since the, you know, post lockdown, he's looked great, so he has. He's just fighting more confident, so he is, I think, now, or something. You know, I think he's starting to realise if these guys can't get him down, he's a problem on the feet, and he's worked on his takedown defense. He's hard to get down, so he is now. You know, Alan Patrick sort of figured that out in his last fight. He couldn't get him down. Lando Venata tried to get him down and stuff. He couldn't. Clay Guida was relentless with the takedowns. And let me check. Did he score takedowns that one? From memory, I don't believe he did actually score 3. So, it's weird because, you know, UFC, you know, stats for takedowns, they're sort of weird with them. So sometimes when fighters take someone down and they get back right up, sometimes you score the takedown, sometimes not. So, but from memory, I just remember actually we were really going for takedowns with that one, struggling to take Bobby Green down like a fair margin. So he comes in with a 74% takedown defense. So he does, this Bobby Green, and as I say, you know, his stand-ups never looked better, and his takedown defense is just, it's improving. Or should I say, post-lockdown, you know, he's really worked on it, and he's sort of filled out that area of his game. Sort of a weird thing with Bobby Green was in the Alan Patrick fight, like he was winning the fight and all, but he was like coming forward, but he wasn't really throwing that much. And he was like taunting Alan Patrick, so he was, without actually throwing much, which was kind of a bad thing. I never like that, so I don't. But maybe it's just he was like confident that he had the fight in the bag, and he was, you know, he's confident that he's going to get the win. But I never really like seeing that when fighters are just coming forward, not really throwing much, and, you know, main games or whatever, or taunting, all that crap. Don't really like it that much, unless you're scoring points. But nevertheless, you know, he did comfortably win that fight. So he did, Bobby Green. So he's coming up against Thiago Moises, who topped out Michael Johnson's last fight. But if you watch that fight, Michael Johnson was pacing up Thiago Moises in the first round. And then Thiago Moises, his corner just really says to him at the start of the second round, you know, you have to get a gear here, you have to do something. If you continue to fight like this, you'll get beat. So he comes out and M&R roll, and then gets the Achilles lock on Michael Johnson. But thing is, Bobby Green is no flake like Michael Johnson is. Do you know what I mean? So you can trust Bobby Green to get the win here. Because I think he just does keep this one on the feet. And I think he pieces up Thiago Moises, sort of. I think he gives him real trouble on the feet. And, you know, gets a decision victory. But the lane for me, I'm not going to say it's too wide, but it's got to, like, non-bet territory at -300 now, in my opinion anyway. Maybe not an earlier lane he was, but -300 is just slightly ever so wide. But yeah, I'm confident Bobby Green wins here, so I am. But it wouldn't be rushing out to play him at -300, so I wouldn't. But yeah, Green by decision. So next up, Greg Hardy versus Maurice Green. 1 second, just taking another drink here. Yeah, so Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy, you know, he got a bit of stick for, you know, I don't know whether it was his past, his, you know, because he was obviously in the domestic abuse scandal and stuff and all that crap. And he had a rough start to his UFC and then he ends up blowing the Ben Soli fight with the whole inhaler gate. And then the Alan Crowder fight, he was getting tired, mega tired against Alan Crowder. And ends up illegal nailing him, getting DQs. So his first fight in the UFC was a loss when he was a big favourite. I was a huge favourite and he ends up losing that one. But in my opinion anyway, after that fight, he really, he sort of put everything together, so he has. And he's starting to look like I wouldn't say starting to, I would say a couple of fights ago, he's really, improved this game to where he actually does look like a fighter. And, he's impressed me. I think he's just matured or something. I'm not sure what it is. He's technical on the feet, so he isn't really rushing out to finish these guys like he was before with Alan Crowder and stuff. He's more patient because I think he knows he does have a bit of gassing issues. Seen that in the Crowder fight, sort of seen that in the Soli fight and the Jurgen fight. He sort of slows down. Maybe not slows down big time, but his level of output goes down a decent bit, I would say. And but as I say, Greg Hardy, he's put together a decent game. And he has really good jobs with us. You never really see that in heavyweight MMA, like a fighter having like a really good job. I would actually say Greg Hardy has a really good job. I wouldn't say it's JDS level, but it is good. He really works behind it, and I think he understands that he's scoring points with it every time he uses it. So that's really what he's done post Alan Crowder, or maybe post Juan Adams, should I say. He's really, incorporated the jab and patient stand up on the feet. So he has to basically say to stop him from gassing, to prevent him from gassing. He has a patient jab and move game, and very athletic guy. So he is. Greg Hardy can't be taken away from me. He is one of the most athletic heavyweights in that division. So he's coming up against Mo Green, crochet balls, Mo Green. Remember against Gian Villante, Sky Bet put out Mo Green as, even though he was favourite for a fight, to put him out as plus 225 underdog. And I put like fucking 400 quid on him, like 8 units on him. And then he ends up, after a scare in round 3, he's winning that fight clearly, but he ends up tapping Gian Villante with like a, wouldn't even say it was Ezekiel choke, but it was some sort of, it says here on Topology, modified choke. I would say that's what it sort of was. It was weird. It was like forearm under neck, but it wasn't really Ezekiel choke. And then Gian Villante just taps. Weird, even though he was on top. Weird one. But I thought he did look decent on the feet in that fight. I know everyone shits on Gian Villante. He was like fat in that fight and all. But I was sort of impressed with Mo Green, so I was on the feet. Because he's really, he seemed up for it. He was incorporating like a heavy kick game, using his long reach, was kicking away at John, and he was doing it in the Olenek fight, so he was, before he get took down in the second round and submitted. So to be honest, I think while Mo Green is fresh, I just think he's a wee bit live here, but I wouldn't be betting him or anything. I just say the odds are like too wide for what they should be, because Mo Green can use his length to stay out of range of Hardy's jab, and basically just work his kicking game, and he can score points that way, like, so he can. And Greg Hardy, we haven't really been finishing guys, apart from fucking Dmitry Smokilov, or whatever his name, worst heavyweight in UFC history probably. Fucking terrible he is. So he finished him, obviously, but he was awful. He was scared in that fight, so he was. But And then the Juan Adams finish, I was a weird one because Juan Adams just stood, like he sat on a single leg and just sat there. Like, he didn't move, and he just took hammer fist and didn't move, even though he wasn't like out cold or anything. It's weird. And then he ends up getting stopped. Few people said early stoppage, but he wasn't really moving, Juan Adams. So to me, Greg Hardy hasn't really been finishing these, decent level heavyweights as he was doing in his, his intro into his MMA career. So I don't know if he finishes Mo Green, to be honest. I think if he does, he finishes Mo Green when he's late on the fight, if anything. Because as we say, Hardy 2.0 has been this patient, jab and move fighter, and I think he's just going to do the same here against Mo Green, unless he just comes out like a bat out of hell, puts it on Mo Green, which I don't think he will. I think Hardy will stick behind the jab and just look to outpoint Mo Green, which I think he does because Mo Green's flaky, so he is. And if I'm going off, historical, wins and stuff, you've got to give it to Hardy, so you do, and just the better probably overall fighter, more athletic, it's Hardy. At a better gym, it's Hardy. Mo Green won't be able to take Hardy down, so he won't, no way. But so I just like Hardy here to win by decision, to be honest. I don't think he finishes Mo Green, to be honest, but I always do the overs, not always, should I say, but every time I do the overs in a heavyweight fight, it ends up burning me. So I've sort of made like a betting commandment type of thing, where if it's a heavyweight fight, I never really do the over. So I'm going to stick with it. Whether I live to regret it here tomorrow night, we'll wait and see. But if there's going to be one bet I would do on this fight, it would be the over 1.5 rounds at, let me check. What's it at now? I swear there's a wee bit of money coming on it. Sort of. Yeah, not surprised at all. So yeah, minus 120, 5-6. You'll get the over. I'm not surprised, to be honest. Definitely not. The money's coming in on that ever so slightly, but yeah. So like Greg Hardy by decision there. I just think he can work behind the jab and outpoint Mo Green. So next up, Kevin Holm versus Charlie Otaveros. So just a heads up for this one. I've never seen Otaveros fight. Never even bothered taping him. Kevin Holland is minus 800, so I wouldn't play him, or like I don't think I would ever play a fighter. It's minus 800. Yeah, so obviously Otaveros coming in on 2 days notice in this one. Yeah, there's not much else to be said. So isn't Kevin Holland's a sniper on the feet. He's probably going to knock out Otaveros, who's been knocked out 6 times. So yeah, Holland by TKO. We'll just leave that one at that. So next up, Bryce Mitchell versus Andre Fili. So Bryce Mitchell, I watched The Ultimate Fighter, where the one where he was on, and he was a fighter that I was very impressed with. He was DC's second pick, and just in the featherweight pickings for that season, and he just impressed me. He was like a relentless wrestler, and you could just he was always doing a really interesting weird shit in the Tough House. So it was just sort of like drawn to him, and then obviously I watched all of his fights since then. I was like, this guy's legit, like, and then sort of people has came around to really what Bryce Mitchell has to offer post Matt Sales fight, where he gets the first twister submission in God knows how long in the UFC. So Bryce Mitchell is a guy that you don't want to be under. So he isn't, not at all, and he is relentless with takedowns, which is something I always like with MMA fighters. Is if they're a good wrestler, just be relentless with takedowns. If you have good cardio, you may as well. What's there to lose? Bryce Mitchell doesn't have the, if he's striking, his cardio isn't the best, but if he's grappling, his cardio's great, because it's just like a thing in MMA where if you train mostly stand up, you're gonna have better cardio for stand up. If you train mostly grappling, you're gonna have better cardio for grappling. So obviously Bryce Mitchell, he's fighting in Arkansas, he's fighting at this, low level gym, but fair play to him, he's still getting it done, so he is. And he's winning fights, and he's, fair play to him. DC offered him a training camp up at AKA. Bryce Mitchell refuses it, he sticks to his guns. He's staying at Arkansas, and he's a real character, like, so he is. And his stand up, can be improved, which is the big area where Andre Fili will have the advantage in here. But if he gets you down and you're underneath him, it's just trouble. So it is with his jiu-jitsu. His jiu-jitsu is very nice. I really like his jiu-jitsu, very aggressive. There's all these crazy submission, twister attempts, taking the back, all sorts. He's very, very good jiu-jitsu artist. And, he can hit takedowns. Whether he can hit them on Andre Fili, it remains to be seen. Andre Fili fighting out of Team Alpha Male. Early in his UFC career, he was prone to being taken down, but as of recently, we haven't really seen him being taken down. In fact, in the Charles Jourdain fight, we've actually seen him take Jourdain down and work on his wrestling. Utilize Fili's wrestling and get a decision victory in that fight. So he did after he was rocked and stuff by Jourdain, so fair play to him there, adding to his game. So to be honest, it's hard, this one to call, because if Bryce Mitchell gets Fili down even once, he should be like a -200 favourite. But if he struggles with the takedowns, Fili is very, very live in this fight at the odds he's at. His odds have sort of, they're dropping. Money's coming on him. He's like +110 now. So 11 to 10 fractional odds. You could have got Fili at +150 range, which wasn't bad, but Fili probably is a more well-rounded guy, and he does have a size advantage in this one and a reach advantage of 4 inches. And he's big for featherweight, so he is Fili. And he's very tricky on the feet. He just catches these guys, so he does, and he's long and rangy, and he likes to use all of that range. 74-inch reach for a featherweight, it's big. So if Bryce can't get him down, he has troubles here. But something just tells me, something in my head is just saying that Bryce takes him down and just really works his jiu-jitsu game. I don't think there's finishing this fight at all, so I don't think this goes to the decision. But something in my head, I just think Mitchell attacks the legs of Fili and gets him down. He just forces a grappling fight in this one where he has a big advantage and where he should beat Fili. I'm going to say by decision for Bryce Mitchell, but I'm not betting him or anything. I guess fight's too close to call, so I do. So Bryce by decision there. And lastly, up next, main event, Uriah Primetime Hall versus Anderson Silva. So this is the Spider's final fight in UFC. It's been a pleasure watching this guy. Anderson Silva was the main reason I get into MMA, so he was, because I always remember watching the football on BT Sport, and before it came on or after it, they were always, way back in the day, I don't even know if it was BT Sport. It might not have been. It might have been Satanta or something like that, or something crazy. Just seeing Anderson Silva fight, and it was just like highlights of him and UFC flashback fights where he was just putting these guys away. Rich Franklin, Chael Sonnen and stuff, and he's the main reason why I wanted to get into MMA. So he was. So I was watching this guy. I was like, Jesus Christ, this is his Matrix here. Just really interesting guy. So he is. He's gonna go down as one of the greats, and deservedly so. Been a pleasure watching him. You know, I hope he has a good fight for his last UFC performance. So do. You know, it was him that got me into MMA, so it was. And then when McGregor came about, McGregor like turned me into like a MMA hardcore type of thing. And then, you know, so just basically handicapping this fight. Anderson Silva, obviously 45, so he is. Thing is with Anderson Silva, like, in my opinion anyway, post Chris Weidman 2, Anderson Silva's never been the same, so he hasn't, to be honest. Because after the leg break, I think he's just, I don't know what it is, I think he sort of gave up the will to win. I think he just wants to go out there and enjoy himself. I think that's what he's doing, basically, in his performances since then. You know, Nick Diaz fight's a weird one. Test positive for steroids and stuff. Was this guy juicing his whole career? Probably, to be honest, which is a shame. Like, so it is. But it is what it is. I mean, all the guys were on juice back then, but that's what I mean. He loses the Bisping decision. He should have won that fight. It was the right decision, but he had Bisping knocked out and stuff. He should have won it. And then he hurts Cormier in like 2 days notice, not one, to the body. But he Cormier just goes to Silva's Achilles and just takes him down, which Uriah Hall won't be doing at all. Like, but then he gets the Bronson decision win, which is a questionable one to say the least. So it is. It was a weird one. Like, I thought Bronson won the fight. It was deemed unanimous there, so it was. At UFC 208, and then he has like a 2-year layoff and fights Adesanya, which is a weird fight. Like, so it is, because he has moments against Adesanya. It could be arguable he won. In my opinion, he didn't. Like, but I mean, Silva hardcores might argue that Silva won round 2 in that fight because it was close. Like, but he was enjoying himself in that one. I'm not sure if it was whether Adesanya was taking it easy on Anderson Silva because it was like his head on stuff, but I mean, he's walking Adesanya down and stuff. I think he was just really, he enjoyed himself in that fight. And that's all what he's been doing ever since he came back. And then post Weidman 2. He's not about winning anymore, in my opinion. So he isn't. I don't think anything's going to be the same tomorrow. He's just going to go out there with Uriah Hall, the guy that was deemed to be the next Anderson Silva, and he's just gonna have fun. So if you're betting Anderson Silva, like, I don't see how, to be honest, at all. I don't see how you can bet a guy that isn't trying to win. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's not doing anything to win. He just doesn't care. So, in my opinion, my advice is do not put hard-earned money on this guy. Just don't. In my opinion, no way. So just about Uriah Hall, Uriah Hall's a bit flaky, like, so he is, but he's a weird one, Uriah Hall. Sorry, one second. When he gets taken down, he just flakes out, so he does. But unless you're actually bringing it to Uriah Hall on the feet, like Paulo Costa did, he's gonna have moments. He's gonna work his weird stand up, his rangy stand up kicking game and stuff. I'm just gonna have a kickboxing fight. But what he's integrated into his game in recent years, which is a testament to his sort of his progression as an MMA fighter at the age of 36 and stuff. He, to me anyway, since the Not sure, maybe Jacko fight, or definitely the Paulo Costa fight anyway. He's really implemented the jab in this game, where he works his full range, almost 80-inch reach, which is huge for middleweight. Just jabs these guys. Jabbed the face of Paulo Costa, so he did for the first round in that fight. And then he obviously succumbs to Paulo Costa's pressure and stand up, but he does have moments in that fight, so he does Uriah Hall. And then against Bavin Lewis, he knocks him out, but that was weird. I don't know, there's something weird about that fight. Like Bavin Lewis, not the greatest fighter in the world, to be honest, so he isn't, but and it's arguable Bavin Lewis won the first round in that one, because Uriah Hall was backing up and stuff. And then he does get a good win, so he does Uriah Hall. Let me just check something, because I'm pretty sure I scored this fight for what do you call him, Shoeface. Pretty sure I scored it for him. Well, it's split down the middle. I didn't have a problem of that fight going either way, to be honest. I could see it going anyway. The Shoeface won in Uriah Hall fight. So I do. Let's just check this stuff. So Uriah Hall outstruck him by 12. He's working the jab, as I say, and Shoeface's face really busted up. So that's a good win for him there. And he has had over a year layoff. I'm not sure why. Maybe just like COVID and stuff. He was scheduled to fight Romero, but Romero pulled from it, and now he's fighting Anderson Silva. You've got to favour Uriah Hall like you do, but to me, Uriah Hall just isn't one of these guys that I could ever really bet at -200. To me, this fight is basically like a stand-up affair where not much is going on, to be honest. Let's just check the over. I think it's set at 4.5 rounds. So I'm not surprised, because Uriah Hall has a chin on him, and also what do you call him, has a chin. Anderson Silva has a chin. I don't care what anyone says. Anderson Silva has such a chin on him for the age of him. See, if you watch the Adesanya fight, he was just walking in front of Adesanya and just taking blows, not even flinching or anything. He was just taking them, which is stupid, which reverts back to what I was saying about Anderson Silva not wanting to win. He's just sitting taking punches to the head without doing anything. So that's never a good look, never ever. So if he stands in front of Uriah Hall, just stand in front of him, just starts taking punches like he did against Adesanya, Uriah Hall is just going to jab the face out of him for 5 rounds. So he is. And Uriah Hall, he's one of these guys that, yes, he does flake, but he flakes in the face of adversity. And I don't think Anderson Silva can bring much, adversity to Uriah Hall at this stage of his career. In my opinion, anyway, that is going to force Uriah Hall to flake, to be honest, because Uriah Hall has flaked, but he's flaked to Gegard Mousasi, one of the top middleweights. He's flaked to Paulo Costa. Can't really remember the Derek Brunson fight. Oh, that was the early stoppage, that one. So it was, I believe. I want to say. Let me just check that. I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the early stoppage. I can't remember. But as I say, I don't think the Spider's going to bring much adversity to Hall at 45 years of age. At Hall's probably peak in the last few years, in my opinion. He's starting to rack up the wins. He's 3-1 out of his last 4. So Hall's looking good recently. Looking good. So yeah, I just can't go with a fighter. As much as we respect Anderson, I can't go with a fighter who doesn't really put much effort into winning in the cage. He doesn't really try to score points with judges, and is willing to stand in front of fighters and just get basically he's face punched him. Just take 1-2s all day, you know, against Adesanya and stuff. So I like Hall here. Gonna say about his decision. Can't see him knocking out Anderson Silva. No way. Especially with no crowd and stuff. If the over was like over 2.5, set at, I would like it, but it's over 4.5, which is a bit much for me. So no bet in that fight. But I like Hall by decision. I think he does win here. So that is the card wrapped up. As says, like I wasn't really expecting to do to do a video for this one, but nevertheless here it is. So hope you enjoy, and as usual, if you're looking to join, become a member of the service, fire me a DM on Twitter. Link is in the description. And good luck with your bets. Hope everyone catches and enjoy the fights. So see you on the next one.